Hello everyone and welcome to this new episode of Shradovni. Today we are going to see together the story of George Blackwell. George has been in charge of Orange for several years, which means he has to take care of the cattle and ensure their safety. At this time, he must be very careful about cattle theft, because it is very common. One night, George is awakened by his beasts. They seem very agitated, so he goes out to see what's going on and feels like their most beautiful mare is very scared. We know that animals are more sensitive than we are, and that they can feel things that we don't. It is at this moment that George will hear a kind of buzz coming from the sky. So he's going to try to find where they came from, and he's going to see an object moving at very low altitude near the ranch. At the time, he doesn't think he has a UFO, but rather a helicopter. The object seems to be heading towards a very large enclosure. Fearing that his cattle will be stolen, he will get on his motorcycle and go see what is going on. Approaching his animals, George will notice something very strange. They are covered in drool, seem very frightened, and seem to want to escape suddenly. He saw the object he was tracking. He is above one of his water tanks, and that's when George will realize that he has never seen anything like it before. This object had a diameter of about 10 meters on a height of 5 meters. Suddenly, the object took out a kind of pipe and plunged it into the water tank. It was at this point that George began to feel confused and noticed that his watch no longer worked. But the object does not suddenly stop there. It will emit a deafening noise and species of waves that will hit John. George says he lost control of his body and fell to the ground. He did not lose consciousness and continued to see everything that was happening, but he could no longer make any movement. After several minutes, the object regains height and George seems to feel a kind of heat around him. The object gradually moves away from the tank and George seems to be able to recover his body's abilities. Very confused, he will say that he stayed several minutes alone in the night to observe the sky, but the object never returned, so he made the decision to return home the next day. To make sure that all this was not a simple hallucination, George decided to go check the water tank, but it no longer contained any drop of water. Also, after this incident, John became very ill, as if he had been exposed to radiation. Soil samples were taken and analyzed by a competent laboratory, but the results were inconclusive. Another witness will report similar facts. He will tell that he saw a circular object not far from where John was. Despite the investigation, no answers will ever be given to George, and we will never know what George actually saw that night. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Do not hesitate to tell me in the comments and share this video. We will meet again in an upcoming episode. Who was Coinfire?